welcome to Career Center. I'm Kimberly White, Executive Director of the Community Career Center, a resource center located in Naperville for people in career transition. If you are unemployed, underemployed, or seeking a career change, this show is for you. Career Center will bring human resource professionals and other experts together to provide job search tips to assist you as you search for your next success. Today on Career Center, we will be exploring how to prepare students for career success. It is my pleasure to introduce our first guest, Mike Doody. Mike recently retired after having spent 25 years as an executive recruiting consultant. I have had the honor to work with Mike as he is a volunteer at the Career Center and a member of its board of directors. Mike, welcome.
Thank you, Kim. It's nice to be here.
So, Mike, let's just get right to it. I want to talk about high school students who recently graduated, as well as college students who are trying to decide what they want to do as they prepare for their next success. Let's talk about the resume. What are your thoughts on resumes for college students and high school students, the tips that you feel that they really need to focus on?
I think the critical thing about a resume is that it be very readable, that the resume be complete, that it show something about who you are and what you've done that would prepare you for the kind of position or job that you're looking for.
Mm-hmm. So what does that look like in terms of format? What should college students look at?
College students, I think, should start with their contact information, name and contact information at the top of the page. I think that should be followed perhaps by a brief statement as to the kind of career they're looking for, followed by education and what their educational preparation is. And then it should include their experience. And I think for college students that means experience in jobs, most of which of course would be part-time jobs by this time, but also the kinds of activities, particularly leadership roles and activities they've had in college that give some indication of their work ethic, their leadership style, their personality, and their initiative.
Okay, so when you talk about education, should they have their GPA on there? Should they have college courses that they've taken?
Not college courses, but they should indicate what degree they've been granted, and I think it's good to have the GPA. If they've studied abroad, for example, I think it would be helpful to indicate that they did a semester or a year abroad, and then followed by, under experience, the kinds of activities and involvement they've had in school, paid or unpaid.
Okay, all right. All right, so they've got their resume together, now they've got to start networking.
Yes.
That's hugely important.
Absolutely.
Tips on that for students?
Well, a lot of people will tell you, that's the thing I'm uncomfortable with. I can't do that. And it's not that significant an issue. It's not that difficult to do if you've got a plan. But the idea of a networking strategy is to have a plan and work the plan. And it should begin by sitting down and identifying, who do I know? And maybe do it in categories. People, family members I know. People I went to school with or went to the same school I went to. People I've been involved with in work or sports or activities. Start to identify those categories of people and how you're going to approach them. One of the things you need to do as you approach them, of course, is have a good resume. And what's critical from the foundation of this is, what do you want to be when you grow up? What are you looking for?
Yeah, that changes with students especially. They go into college thinking one way, and then they change up.
But you have to be able, in networking circumstances, to say to people, to answer the question, okay, Mike, what do you want to do? You need to be prepared with some kind of answer as to what you want to do. And I'm not talking about what you want to do for your lifelong career, but what do you want to do for this first job you're looking for?
Right. When you said group into categories, one demographic I didn't hear you mention, but I'm assuming it might be part of it, and that's professors, people that they've had. Do you think they should reach out and stay connected, LinkedIn or something like that?
Absolutely. People who can talk to your work ethic, what you've done, but also people you can reach out to and say, are you aware of any opportunities for someone like me looking for this kind of position? Now that becomes a little bit more difficult, for example, if you went to school in Connecticut, but you're looking for your job in Illinois.
Right, right.
But
It's
never,
doable,
don't not do it, because you never know who that professor knows.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know.
And one other thing I just wanted to touch on, you mentioned lifelong job. Typically, in most cases, this is not going to be the end-all be-all job.
Correct. Obviously, there's the exception. There's the individual who went all the way through college, then went to medical school, knows they're going to be, went to law school, they're pretty sure they're going to want to be a practicing attorney. But a lot of young people coming out of undergraduate school, starting into the job force in their career, they really don't fully understand, and it's not surprising, what they want to be ultimately.
And it's okay.
It's
totally okay.
Very okay. It's totally okay. Because you learn a lot in those first few jobs, and you learn what you like, what you don't like, where you're best suited, what kinds of things you do. And today, a lot of people go back to graduate school after a few years of work, rather than going right from undergraduate school to full-time graduate school.
Right, right. Okay, so they've got the resume, they've done some networking, and now they're ready to interview. Tips?
Tips. First impressions and lasting impressions. Whether it's a networking meeting or whether it's an interview, you've got to be prepared for it. You've got to know what you're trying to accomplish in that session. If it's a networking session, you're going in to listen as much as talk. If it's an interview, you should identify some of the common questions you're going to be asked in the interview. Practice those. Know what you want that interviewer to remember about you when the interview's over. And the interviewer is only going to remember about 7% of what you tell them. So you want to be sure you know what it is you want that person to remember. Be prepared and dress the part. You cannot overdress for an interview.
Or a networking meeting.
Or a networking meeting. But going into it in your basketball shorts and your sweaty t-shirt is not the way to do it.
No, no. I know we talk about a lot that at the center.
Yes.
How important that is. One of the things you say, and I've heard you say this often, is ones who are most successful are the ones who are most prepared.
Absolutely. Prepared for knowing what you want to accomplish in that networking session, knowing what you want to accomplish, what you want that interviewer to remember about you, having that resume. There's even prepared from the point of view of if you're going for an interview at a particular location and you've never been there, drive to it a day or two before the interview so you know how long it takes you to get there. You do not want to be late for that interview.
And study up on the company as well.
Good point. No, have some questions to ask about the company. Some of your answers ought to say, well, I understand that XYZ company here believes in this kind of corporate culture or practices this kind of value system. Show the interviewer that you've done some homework because that shows your interest in the company.
Wow. Well, this has gone by fast. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Again, as we wrap up, thank you for sharing your insight and wisdom to students and recent job seekers. Now, don't go away, because when we come back, I will be joined by Dr. Layla Sammy to discuss how students can best use social media in their job search. Stay tuned for more discussion right after this important public service announcement.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Welcome back to Career Center. I'm Kimberly White, and I'm happy to have joining me at the table Dr. Layla Sammy, Assistant Professor, Digital Marketing and Analytics at Aurora University. Layla, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So Layla, tell me a little bit about what you do at Aurora University.
So currently I champion the Masters of Science in Digital Marketing and Analytics. So I help out with some of the marketing, I help create the classes, and the Digital Marketing and Analytics program is really, I think, forward thinking. I didn't create the program, so I love saying it's an amazing program. The classes are really ahead of their time. So we have a class, for instance, in customer experience marketing, which talks about how to really create the best experience for the customers.
Okay. And how many students would you say are now involved in attending those classes?
Our enrollment is slowly picking up. I would say currently we have probably about 15 to 30 students, and we have a lot of students that will be starting in the fall.
Yeah, and like you said, it's very forward-thinking, so great program. All right, so let's talk about social media and students. And we all know, we hear all the things about how bad it can be, but there are really some good things about using social media. Pros, and then we'll talk about cons.
Definitely.
Or do you want to go cons first and then pros?
We can start. I personally don't think there's anything wrong with social media.
That's true.
I think it's great. I think if you're using it correctly and you're understanding that your information's out there, that as soon as you publish something, then it's out for the world to see, then there really aren't any cons. I think the positives, though, is that you can network with people without ever meeting them, and then you can create a connection and a relationship with companies or brands prior to even ever going and meeting with those companies. I think it also helps you show your expertise. So if you find an area that you're interested in, you can start really creating a personal brand around your expertise in an area that interests you. Also, you can learn trends on social. I mean, we hear about situations where there are, disasters, and this is kind of out there, but disasters, and you hear about those disasters on social media prior to ever hearing them on the news. So you hear about trends even in certain areas before you can hear them anywhere else on social.
So you talked about people, you're able to make connections with people you don't know. So let's kind of talk about different media platforms that people would use. LinkedIn, huge, great for business, students, try to graduate to that from Facebook, if you will, once they graduate from high school.
Definitely.
Talk about that a little bit.
So LinkedIn, I don't know if you're aware of this, but recently they brought down the age limit to 13. So LinkedIn definitely sees value in having people from 13 years old up using LinkedIn. So you really should start using it as early as you can and really showcasing your resume and who you are and what your positive traits are on LinkedIn. Now with connecting with people, I mean, once you know what you want to do, or once you know a brand you want to work for instance, it's okay to reach out to people that work for that brand, follow that brand if they have a LinkedIn company page, and really interact with them, and that's going to definitely help with your job search as well.
So with LinkedIn, you want to follow the brand, join their page, make sure you're staying on top of all of that. Okay.
Definitely.
Pictures at 13, should you put a picture on there, or should you wait till you're a little older? What's your thoughts on that?
On LinkedIn, that's a great question. I think it's really up to the parent at that point. I don't personally see anything wrong with it, but a lot of parents probably would not be very positive towards putting pictures online.
Yeah, you got to be really careful, especially at 13, 14. You're still a little young, but making that picture professional is key.
Definitely.
Okay, what about Facebook?
Facebook. So I don't love Facebook personally. I think it's great for social, but for showing your expertise, for really creating your personal brand, I would say that stay away from Facebook. Use that for personal, but still, again, be mindful of what you're posting online.
Yeah, because companies do have a way of taking a look at Facebook.
They definitely do. And my rule of thumb always is if you don't want your grandmother to see what's up there, then don't post it up on Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or anywhere.
Anywhere. Twitter.
Oh, my love. Twitter is great, especially for creating the relationships, learning information, because with Facebook it's more of a closed platform, similar actually to LinkedIn as well. But Twitter is such an open platform that you can find out new information. You can really make connections on Twitter a lot easier because the culture of Twitter is really meeting people that you've never met before, where with LinkedIn and Facebook, maybe you won't connect with people unless you know them.
Do you put your Twitter handle and your LinkedIn link and all that on your business cards or your resume, just to show that you're relevant when you're...
Yes, that's actually great. So I would definitely say on your business card, put whatever social media application that you're using most.
Okay.
So if you're, using Twitter just a little bit and you're not really active on Twitter, then don't put your Twitter handle on. But if you are active, then definitely put your Twitter handle on your business card, on your resume, on all, across all your sites even, and show that you're on a number of different sites.
So let's talk about social media and job search in terms of how can they use that in their job search. And let's talk short term and then kind of long term.
Excellent, perfect. So for short term, we'll just start with that. I think LinkedIn is a great place to start. LinkedIn really looks at your profile and your positives are, what you do well, your strengths. And then they go in and they have an algorithm where they can actually say what jobs would be relevant for you. So that's a great way to start, and it's really showcasing your resume. More long-term, I would say, is really find what your niche is, what you really want to do when you grow up. And I know it's hard at 13 or even right out of college to say this is what I want to do, but have some kind of idea and then create a personal brand around that idea. So if you're really interested in digital marketing, focus on blogging, create blog posts around digital marketing, tweet about digital marketing, maybe create a Pinterest page and put different Pinterest boards, put some articles about digital marketing on those Pinterest boards as well. But really create some type of personal brand. So if a future employer, does a search for you, they see that you are really relevant, number one, know that you know that you understand the industry that you're hopefully going to work for.
Okay, and then as far as long term?
So that would be the long term, really
create that brand. Yeah. Some misconceptions about social media.
There's so many. For companies, actually, I have to say one thing is a lot of companies say, oh, I don't want to be on social because we're going to lose control. Well, if you're a negative brand, then they're not going to want to, then your information's going to be on the internet anyways. For the job search, I really, honestly, misconceptions, people think that they, that they can put anything online and it will never be found, even if they're private. So if you have a private account on Facebook, if you have a private account on Twitter, then you can put anything out there and no one will be able to find you. That's not true.
Yeah. How is that? Tell me why. We're wrapping up, but tell me why is that? Because if it's private, I thought it was. No?
So somebody could friend you, for instance, and
then they can see it.
Yeah. So, and also I've heard situations where employers have actually gone in and asked people to look into their pages.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your expertise on social media and the student job seeker. Don't go away, because when we come back, we will be talking with two experts about youth programs and internship opportunities. We'll be right back after this public service announcement.
To find out how to protect your family, including your pets, in an emergency, please visit the ASPCA website or Tony LaRussa's Animal Rescue Foundation website. Be a responsible pet parent. Be prepared.
Welcome back to Career Center. I'm Kimberly White, and joining me now are Brian Lindstrom, Outreach Coordinator, and Nina Seperghan, Youth Career Counselor, both from WorkNet DuPage. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So Brian, tell me a little bit about what you do at WorkNet.
Sure. As an outreach coordinator, I'm part of the business services side, so I get to go out and visit companies in DuPage County, educate them about our program, let them know, kind of what's going on. Also get to do some recruitment, visit local community centers, and talk about our program, let people know that we're recruiting, trying to get more students, stuff like that.
Okay, great. And Nina, as Youth Career Counselor, what do you do there?
As a youth career counselor, I am an instructor for the My Way program that we have, which we'll go more into detail soon, as well as I'm a case manager, so I work closely with the clients I stay in contact with them as much as needed. I do the intakes, assessments. I do a lot of community work where I go to all the agencies and I meet with different areas, kind of like what Brian does, and just try to get the word out there to get the youth in the doors to try to get them a part of our program.
So let's talk about My Way. I know that's a program that works with different industries in order to bring students, get students involved or interested in certain industries. Do you want to expound on that a little bit?
Sure. So My Way started in manufacturing as an industry, and recently it's kind of turned into more of a career exploration type program where we've introduced logistics, hospitality, and office admin into it as well. So it's kind of cool because it gives kids another option. You know, some students that may not have resources to go to college or might not know what they want to do yet post high school, so it's really kind of cool to get them started that way.
Right, and so when you say logistics, hospitality, you've already met with companies that are looking for interns, if you will.
Yeah, definitely. We're reaching out to new companies all the time. A lot of it's based on location. We're trying to get students as close as we can to where they live. But yeah, really we're reaching out to as many companies now. We've got obviously more in manufacturing because that's where we started. So we piggyback off that a little bit. So we've got interns right now for office admin at manufacturing job or you know
companies.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So how do you go about finding these students? Is that a question?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a question for both of us. Really, you know, what I've done recently is, you know, reaching out to high schools, reaching out to libraries, reaching out to basically everywhere in the community, trying to get people involved and let them know. So really, it's just about trying to find the kids, you know, wherever we can. The high schools have been great. We'd like to get into more and talk to more counselors and stuff like that.
So is it just in the western suburbs or all over?
Just DuPage County.
Just DuPage
so it's
County.
all, yeah, youth in DuPage County, definitely.
Okay. So Nina, is there an application process once the students hear about it? What do they do?
So once the students hear about it or the youth hear about it, they can go ahead and give us a call at our line. And at that point, we have them fill out an application online and allow us to, we would write down, you know, 3 things that they're interested in. At that point, we would schedule an intake. The individual would then schedule a time to come in, meet with me or the other 2 counselors, where we would go over paperwork and go over eligibility requirements to see if the individual is eligible. And at that point, we then schedule a second appointment, which is the assessment appointment. There, we have the individual do a career assessment, and then they bring the results to that appointment to see what program is specifically appropriate for them, if the My Way program is appropriate, or if a training program that we have provided with throughout the community that we're linked with is appropriate for them. That's where we kind of start that.
Okay, and there's no fee for this, correct?
No, a great thing with our program, because a lot of times youth, you know, income is an issue, transportation is an issue. There's a lot of barriers going into it. So a great thing about our program is, you know, we bring in those barriers and we try to break that cycle.
Okay.
So we have incentive programs where we'll pay you to go to school, we'll pay you to go through a certification program in the community, we'll pay you for your internship, we'll then give you an incentive if you complete your goals that we've set up with you. You know, we just continue, and with the companies, we pay the youth to be employed there, so it's free for the employers to bring them on, so that this way we can create a bigger partnership and have more youth getting in through the doors.
Okay, so the age limit for this is, what's the age?
18 to 24. Originally was 18 to 21. Now it's actually been moved up to 18 to 24 to reach more students.
Okay, so this is for students, high school students, college kids. If you're in college, you can still also participate in this, correct?
So specifically with the My Way program, what we're trying to get is the individuals that aren't in an associate's or bachelor's program.
Okay.
School isn't for everybody. Here's another option.
Okay.
So if we're in that career exploration stage, we're still trying to figure it out.
Still trying to figure it out.
Come through the class, learn your job skills. I'll teach you how to do interview, resume, soft skills. We do career exploration where we go to field trips to different companies, which Brian sets up. And we get to see the different companies have different HR department heads come in, owners of companies come in and just kind of teach us about what's out there in the community.
Yeah.
So these students are getting paid
Right.
upwards of, you said earlier, what, $13, $14 an hour?
Yeah,
or
they can. I mean,
up
definitely in
to?
these industries, if they're doing a good job and they're, willing to learn, and they, show that they have a pretty good track record of being on time, have good attendance, all that, there's plenty of opportunity to move up.
One of the things I heard you say, Nina, was you sit down with them and talk about goals. Now, do you create those goals together when you're working with the student?
Yeah, so in the assessment appointment, we'll start the goal incentive sheet. So let's say you don't have your GED. That's number one, we're gonna get you set up with a program to get that. Or you need a credential, so we'll set up certifications that you need to complete. Or we need you to complete the classroom portion or the internship. Once you complete the incentive portion of it, we'll give you a $480 incentive check.
Wow,
Yeah.
okay.
So it's a real cool incentive.
Yeah, it sounds like a great program. So Brian, you're basically in charge of recruiting. Trying to go out and get companies.
Yeah, definitely. Reaching out to the community, reaching out to the companies and let them know that we have interns that are looking. I mean, the best thing is if we have an intern that is interested in a company, it's great to be able to go there
Are
and
you
be
able
like,
to share any of those companies?
a great success story that we have right now that's a new relationship is with the Naperville Chamber of Commerce. We have an
very good.
intern there right now that I was able to reach out to, and they were, pretty energetic to get an intern right away, and it's really worked out really well.
That's
so
great, and that's a great chamber.
Yeah,
That.
exactly. So
good.
that's nice networking for us too, and for the student.
Okay, and then they can share that information with other employers who are part of the chamber.
Definitely.
So I know WorkNet offers a wide array of services. What else what other programs are there?
A lot of it, the goal of WorkNet is to work with job seekers and get them the skills so that they can have a successful career, and then work with the employers so that they can build their workforce and hire local talent. So we do job workshops, we do a whole bunch of, just preparing people with those soft skills, people that might even, besides the youth work, things that they have done in the past, they can excel on and move forward to a new job.
Right. And I know we do some partnering things with you all as well from the Career Center. Do you guys, with the youth, do you help them with, you said like soft skills and stuff, so you talk to them about that, and then resumes, and you have people to help them kind of create that. If they come to you and don't have one, you can help them with that as well.
Yeah, definitely. That's a big thing, is working on the resumes and all that. Another thing that I think is really important for the classroom portion is doing that job search and that job research, really knowing what you're looking for and kind of being able to explore. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much. And as we wrap up, I want to thank Nina, Brian, Layla, and Mike for being a part of this month's edition of Career Center. If you are a student in need of some career assistance, mark your calendar to attend a workshop on preparing students for career success. It's going to be on Thursday, July 30th from 12:30 to 3 at the Community Career Center. This workshop will provide tips on creating a winning resume, networking, personal and professional branding, and LinkedIn. Visit us on our website for more information. And as always, if you're unemployed, underemployed, or seeking a career change, please visit us at the Community Career Center, 1815 West Diehl Road, Suite 900 in Naperville. Thanks for watching.